Let's go. So we have F, G, J, K, L, M, and O are the only applicants being considered for some positions at the nonprofit. Only applicants are interviewed will be hired. The hiring process must be the following. So I don't like the one where
Like, is this something I can't do in and out?
Or yes, I'm actually curious. So we're saying that these people are all being considered. Only applicants who were interviewed will be hired. But just because you are hired, does that mean you're going to be interviewed? I mean, just because you're interviewed, does that guarantee that you're hired?
No.
So I don't think I wouldn't consider this in and out personally.
Oh, okay, great. So they put this in there.
Yes, I mean, it kind of is, but I don't know. I don't, because I consider this is like not everybody has to be used, right? Because it's not like you either are interviewed or not, or hired or not. You're either nothing, interviewed, or interviewed and hired.
Yeah. So almost like three groups.
Yeah, I would consider it 3 groups. So how I would attack this one is, so we have F, G, J, K, L, M, and O. So we're gonna have F, G, and I think this is one thing where you can continue to grow. Everybody can continue to grow in games where it's like, if they throw you a curveball and something doesn't seem right, don't force it, right? Which I know you're studying right now, so you're trying to force it to learn a new strategy. So that's different. If I come across something and I'm like, yeah, I don't see how circle slash is going to work, don't on the real, yeah, you don't have
to. Yeah. Because I was trying it and then I was like, wait, F is interview, and then it goes F is not hired. And I'm like, what?
Yeah. So what do you do there? Yeah. So
yeah, I didn't catch on to the hired thing at first.
Only applicants who are interviewed will be hired. The hiring yeah, and that's okay. So if G is interviewed, J is interviewed. So if J is interviewed, then if G is interviewed, then
J
is interviewed. Okay, cool. And then we have, if J is interviewed, then L is interviewed. Cool. F is interviewed. Nice. F is not hired unless, oh, I love unless. Okay, so how did you diagram rule number 4?
I will do I don't know, so it just makes sense to me. I'll do FH, F hired, and then I'll do the arrow. K interviewed. I know that the arrow meant something different in the other one, but to me I still pick up on it.
No, I like that. So if K is not interviewed, then F is not hired.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Okay.
K is not hired unless M is interviewed. So if K is hired, then if K is hired, then M is interviewed. I'm to this day, I still do my contrapositives almost automatically just because.
I never do them, and I'm maybe I should.
I don't know. It takes me 2 seconds and I just do it.
Yeah.
If M is hired and L is interviewed, O is hired. This is actually kind of a really unique game.
Yeah, I don't know. I read the stimulus and I didn't even pick up on the whole hiring thing, and I was like, oh, this is a 3 group.
And we have to have both of these. So if M is hired and L is interviewed, then O is hired.
This is difficulty 3 still.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what would I don't even think here. I don't think I would even do worlds for this. I think I would actually brute force this one.
Yeah, just make your 3 groups.
I don't even think I would make 3 groups here. I think I literally would just go into the questions.
So when you
I don't even know what to do here. I'm because I guess you could do in and then circle. I guess what you could do, if I'm thinking about this, is you could do interviewed, not interviewed as a world, and then circle it if it's hired. So
okay.
So maybe I would do that actually. So so I would do one where G is interviewed, and then maybe one where, obviously I would have to do one then where
they're not.
He is not interviewed. So if G is interviewed, then J is interviewed. And if J is interviewed, then L is interviewed. We know that F is interviewed. So I can put F in both of them. If K is hired, M is interviewed. If M is not interviewed, K is not hired. Okay, cool. If M is, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else here that, okay. So I think that is all we can do for this part. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, so for this first world, we have G, J, L, and F all taken care of. So what I like to do at the bottom is just write the ones that I haven't used yet. So K, M, and O. Mm-hmm. And then I just quickly look over and think, okay, are there any rules that I have to pay attention to? So like if K is hired, M is interviewed. So I still have some rules pertaining that. And since L is interviewed, we don't have to, just if M is hired, O for sure has to be hired. Cool. And then what I would do is I would go over to the second world then, and I would split it. So, and I would think of I would pick a different rule to make it happen. So I might do, let me think. So I'm going to look for the next most constrained, and I'm going to put one in and one out. So maybe like, I probably would just do J. Like I would put J in and J out. Okay. Because if J is in, I know L is in. And that's, I think, all I can determine on that one.
Would you do one where F is hired and one where F doesn't get hired?
I don't think I would mess with it, to be honest.
Okay. Because if F is hired, then we know
K is interviewed.
And then
I would have to make one where F isn't hired, and I don't think it would be worth the time.
Yeah, okay.
I think I would just pay attention to that rule, because like right now we have this rule taken care of. So we can, I mean, you can pretty much erase it, right?
Yeah.
F being interviewed, we have that rule taken care of. If J is in, L is in, we have this rule taken care of. So really the only thing we have to pay attention to are if K is hired, M is interviewed. If F is interviewed, K is interviewed. If F is hired, K is interviewed. And then if M is hired, then and L. Like, yeah, those are the only things that we would have to pay attention to.
Just waiting to see who's hired at this point.
Yeah. Okay. And then I would probably, once again, just at the bottom here, write K, M, and O. I don't know. Maybe I probably spend too much time doing stuff like this, but I just slowly got faster. Where stuff like I just struggle, like I would spend time looking where I would just rather do it once below and have what letters I still have versus like constantly looking at the top, which maybe that's just personal preference.
No, I think that's smart because even though I do brute force, there's been times where I'm like, okay, crap, who haven't I used? And I have to go back to look.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
So let's go into these questions then and see what, I think this is helpful. I think we should go over a grouping one too after this one, because I want to see like how you would do that. You're still not, because you're still not perfecting, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the one I did most recently on Trello or whatever, like the one game threw me off. And then I have a habit sometimes with could be true. If I like in the first one I do, and I'm like, oh yeah, this works, like that's it. And I don't always take the time to look for the other ones. But then with that, like maybe I missed something in the first one.
Yeah. See, that's why I like Worlds for that very reason, is it gives you it gives you a chance where you easily can check every answer and not have to like trust it and move. Like that's how I caught my mistakes on my test yesterday.
Yeah, because I was frustrated with that because I finished the first game on that section in like 4 minutes, and I was like, sweet, like if it's 8 minutes a game roughly, like I got time. But then the second game, which was not hard, I was like, crap, how did I got a could be true wrong just because I didn't take the time.
Yes, no, absolutely. So here, so my first question, so which of the following could be a complete and accurate list of applicants that are interviewed? Oh, this isn't a typical first question. So then I go straight to my if questions. I typically do the normal first question where it's like, what could be a completely indeterminate list?
Yeah.
This isn't that. So, which actually it kind of is. I guess you could do it first. Because like if I just went through my rules, like if G is interviewed, J is interviewed. Because we're talking about those are interviewed. So I would look for, if there's G, there has to be J.
Yeah.
So A can't be.
It's E.
D can't be. Yeah, so G and so those are the two I crossed off so far. If J is interviewed, L is interviewed. Can't be B, can't be E, so it's C. So actually it was really fast. Like that one actually wasn't hard. But then I would skip and do my if questions first. So if M is not interviewed, and so in all of these,
M's a floater.
M's a floater, so I'm going to put M over. So if M is not interviewed, I know K, I look at my rows, I know K is not hired.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what must be true? So I'm thinking like F has to be interviewed. Let's see if that's an answer. Let's see. Okay, so what, oh, this, oh yeah, sorry, no, could, or no, sorry, I'm looking, must be true. Okay. So must it be true that K is not interviewed? Not necessarily, right?
No, he can be interviewed, just not hired.
Must it be true that K is interviewed but not hired?
It's only if F's hired. We don't know.
Yes. F is not hired. Does that have to be true?
No.
F is hired, but K is not hired. Does that have to be true?
No. We don't know if F is hired though.
Ah, look at our worlds.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know
The
if
last
they're hired.
one.
Sorry, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, no, the last one is it though. F is interviewed, the K is not hired.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was fast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then let's go on to if there's any other if questions, which I love if.
I never pay attention. I guess I just always go in order. It's LR where I'll like play around and skip.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I don't skip anything in LR. Like unless, yeah, I'm like, no.
If there's one in LR and I'm like, oh, I'm reading this and I'm halfway through and I don't get it, I'll come back to it. Even if it's like question 5.
Okay, so then here I would just continue on. So how would you handle number 9?
If Gunnell and 5 other applicants are the only applicants interviewed, which one of the following could be an accurate list of those hired? So Gunnell and 5, or G and 5 other applicants. So if we did the first world.
So and could it happen in all of them?
Of the worlds, no, because we have G not interviewed in the other 2.
Excellent. So if G and 5 other are the only applicants interviewed, so
we need one more.
Well, it says 5 other applicants.
Oh, sorry, 2 more.
2 more, yep. And so we know that there's going to be at least 2 here.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1 over here. I'm gonna look and see. No, there's like no triggers, like if they're interviewed, they have to interview. So I'm not worried about that. So which of the following could be an accurate list of applicants hired? Oh, this is kind of tricky.
So let's see, if we have F hired, then we have to bring K in to be interviewed. And then the other person still does not matter. So then
so I wouldn't even, okay, so how I go through these is like, I do exactly what you did. I'm looking at the roles and I'm thinking, okay, F, L, and M, what does this trigger? And I don't think, like, I don't see like any red flags, so I don't even try it and I go on to B. Is that what you do? Or will you like work this actually out first?
I'll look to see if there's something like already conflicting. For this one though, I guess it doesn't, I didn't see it as often.
I don't cross it off though, because I'm not 100% certain. I just don't test it. So I leave it. I leave it. So then I go on and I do F, K, and M. So I'm looking at can F, K, and M be together or be all hired?
F, K can be hired. Yeah, they could be. Oh wait, if M's hired, then where's H?
So here, the big one that I'm paying attention to here is K being hired. So I'm like, okay, so if K is actually hired, they take one of the spots. And if K is hired, M is interviewed. So that's going to force O over here.
But M can't be hired.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that can't be. So that one I'm testing and I would cross off. That one I would actually test out to make sure it was wrong. Because there was something there that I didn't like. Do you see that? Like where I was like, it was
Yeah. We
where I'm
wouldn't
like,
have had anybody not interviewed then.
yeah, exactly.
So K higher than we have M. L interviewed. Same thing.
The same issue.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we're crossing it off.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. What about D?
G hired. If we have J hired, that does nothing. If M is hired, L is interviewed. Oh, then yeah, D works because. Oh wait, if M is hired. Oh, we don't have to have L interviewed though. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, so I have G hired, and then I have J hired, and I have M in and hired. Then I'm good. I don't have
So
to have L interviewed.
okay. No, because to be okay.
Oh, L's already in. Sorry.
I think you actually said it right. But so here we're putting G, J, and M. G, J. So we know that M is in and they're hired. So if M is hired, we know that, oh, nothing happens. Never mind.
No,
Okay, cool.
no. Oh wait, I missed something though, because I thought L wasn't already in, but L is in. So if L's in, then O has to also be
Also
hired.
be in, yes.
But then K could be our person out.
So I actually liked this one.
Yeah.
So we tried it and saw this one. So then I would go, but see, I still test though.
Yeah, I would probably like if it wasn't noticeable to me on like just looking at them, I would probably enter them all in, like just do brute force. Yeah.
So then this one I would go on to E
Mm-hmm.
and GJL and be like, can this work?
It, they all could be hired, but we don't know who the other people would be.
But could GJL all be hired?
G could be hired. Yeah, J could be hired, and then L can too. But we don't know who, if it's G and 5 other people. We don't know who the other 2 are.
Right, but it could be an accurate list, so we have to determine it. So something must be wrong on one of like so something has to be wrong on one of these answer choices. So I'm thinking that
Do we need M?
if K is hired, GJ and L. Honestly, we probably did something wrong on the last one.
G,
That
J.
looks like that looks like it's not like very well like restricted at all.
Mm.
So here I would look at, so let's go back to, there was something that before you said, there was some reason I didn't like E, but G, J, and M. So if we have G and J is hired, and then we have M and they are hired, and L is interviewed. Oh, this is why. Because O would have to be hired then, and that gives us 4. So it's not a complete and accurate list.
Oh, okay. I forgot the O had to be hired.
So then, yeah, so that wouldn't work. Because I like the one that we just I liked E.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably would go, I don't, depending on my time would determine if I like looked at A or not and what order the game was. Like if it was early on, I probably would test it out and just trust myself to get through it. But for our purposes, we can look at it where I didn't see any reason why I like F, L, and M couldn't work. Because if we have M and they're hired, or couldn't work, but now I see it. And I'm thankful we skipped it because if L is interviewed and M is hired, O has to come in and it's the same issue.
Yeah, we don't have anybody on the other side.
So it has to be E. Yeah. Cool. All right. So how would you go about doing number 10?
Every applicant that's interviewed is hired. And if Lee is hired, then each of the following applicants must be interviewed except. So for this one, I guess maybe because I'm not used to worlds, I don't know which world you would do that. Do you do it in every single one?
So whenever you do worlds, you still can use brute force to an extent. Like so we didn't fully fill out our worlds, and so part of the reason of doing it is just to play with the rules so it's easier for us to see things.
Okay.
So I'm thinking if every applicant that is interviewed is hired, and if Lee is hired, then each of the following applicants must be interviewed except. So I'm thinking, okay, so if I'm thinking like L is interviewed and L is hired. and everybody that is interviewed is hired, I would probably use process of elimination. And I would say, like, okay, so if we have, so essentially what we're saying here is L is in and L is hired.
Mhm.
And we know already that F is hired, correct?
Yeah.
So I'm going to cross off F. I'm going to look for F to see if I can cross it off.
Mhm.
And I'm going to go over and think, okay, we're saying that then each of the following must be interviewed except. So I'm going to see, like, does F or L trigger anything to happening? And I'm thinking, okay, so I look over and I see, oh, F is hired. That means K is interviewed. And if K is interviewed, that means K is hired. So I'm going to cross that off. If K is hired, M is interviewed, M is interviewed, M is hired.
Mhm.
And that's going to trigger if M is interviewed and L is interviewed, O is. So we're going to cross that off and our answer is going to be B.
Okay. That one I guess is pretty easy too, and you just kind of talked it out.
Yes.
Mhm.
And like, so like, even though I created my worlds, like I still use common sense, and
Mhm.
maybe like other people, I like it because for me, even though these aren't complete, I don't know, I for some reason playing with it just makes it easier for me just to see things or to be able to put it in like that. I'm like, oh, I can see it, and it's just easier for me to I
Yeah.
love being able to see like spots
Mhm.
and like how many seats are left on something.
Yeah. What can be filled?
Yeah, I feel like I can cross off answers so quickly because of that. All right, and then 11 says, if O is not interviewed, and if exactly 4 applicants are hired, which of the following must be false? So yeah, so I would go in and like, okay, so if O is not in, and exactly 4 applicants are hired, so which of the following must be false?
4 are hired. So we could do. I mean, F could.
Did I miss? If G is interviewed, J is interviewed. Oh, I just missed drew this letter here. There we go. Okay. So 4 are hired. So I'm thinking, I look over and I think, okay, so if O is not hired, what does that trigger?
So at L can't be interviewed, and M can't be hired.
So then what world are we looking at?
The far one.
Yep. So I'm gonna put L in and out.
If we don't have M, K, they have to be. So wait, you can cross off already A and B.
Hold on. If O is not interviewed and if exactly 4 applicants are hired,
Oh wait, which must be false.
which is following must be false. Wait, if O, sorry, but it also it says if 4 applicants are hired. I feel like
Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If O is M. Sorry, M could be.
so when it isn't A, must be false. So if we know Odessa is not interviewed,
N can be, sorry. The only person that we know for certain that cannot be, this is where I messed you up, I'm sorry,
that's
is
okay.
that if we know that M can be interviewed,
Mm-hmm.
they just can't be hired. I
Mm-hmm.
automatically put them out. So that was wrong.
But for the answer, we know that L can't be hired because to be hired,
Oh,
you have to
yes,
be
sorry.
interviewed.
I was still